Hey everybody, my name's Nick. I'm one of the co-founders of the Heroes Journal. We wanted to make a video today that kind of just tackled some of the questions about Kickstarter, running a campaign, why we're running a campaign, and some of the questions that people who maybe aren't familiar with crowdfunding or Kickstarter at all might have. So let's get into it. So Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform. Now, crowdfunding has been around for probably a little over a decade now. Crowdfunding is essentially a new age way to get an idea or a product off the ground. Now, there are a few sites that kind of do this hosting. The popular ones are, of course, Kickstarter. There's Indiegogo, and then GoFundMe is a different one. And they all kind of have different sorts of projects and asks about them. But the main component that all of them share is that someone that doesn't have a lot of funding, we'll say typically, goes to these platforms and then asks people if they would like to essentially pledge money to pre-order this product. So it's kind of a way of pre-ordering a product that doesn't quite exist yet, but that funding allows the creator of the project or the person with the idea to then carry it out and distribute it to the people that pledged earlier on. So it's basically like a pre-order that's a lot more intimate and has way more transparency between the people backing the campaigns and the people running the campaigns, and then the delivery times can vary quite a bit because of that. Yeah, so Kickstarter is an extremely unique platform. I don't think any other platform exists out there, quite like Kickstarter, in the sense that there is such an intimacy between the people that want to see an idea come to life and the people that want so badly to create it. Kickstarter has really kind of lowered the barrier of entry to essentially being like a micro investor in these like kind of small ideas. Typically when you think a business is getting investment money, they're going to like a bank or they're going to like a venture capitalist or something, people that have tons and tons of money to throw at businesses. But crowdfunding and Kickstarter specifically kind of brings that down to a super micro level, kind of in like a direct to consumer type of a level. So it's a really cool way for people to support anyone from like artists to aspiring entrepreneurs to people, launching a new product, kind of from anywhere in the world. So that's the real special thing about Kickstarter. I mean, there's so many ways to launch a product, right? But nothing's quite like Kickstarter in the sense that you kind of have that really strong connection between the people that are voting to make your thing come to life, well, voting with their wallets. And you kind of have like this documented journey that lives forever. Like our old Kickstarter campaign from 2 years ago, you can still go see all the updates and comments and details of what happened, even though it's kind of been like 2 years old. So as time goes on, the Kickstarter campaign you run may only be 30 days or so, but it stays like, it kind of becomes a time capsule in the real world that you can go back and visit. So it's a really special thing, and we felt like it was worth running a really good campaign to release our new journal. So the way a typical Kickstarter is structured is you have a funding period, essentially. So usually it's about 30 days. I think Kickstarter allows you a little more, but you can also shorten it if you want. But the whole point is that your backers have kind of a window of time that they can jump in and back your project. Now I know, at least about Kickstarter, you can only back a project one time. So you can't, for instance, back multiple times for like one project. All you have is one opportunity. So you kind of have to maximize that 30 or so day window that you choose for your product or your idea. And you really have to try and get the word out. You have to be reaching out to your own audience, or maybe, news sources, local news sources. You have to be reaching out to, people on social media, whatever is going to work, whatever is going to get more attention to your campaign. And the nice thing about Kickstarter is it does kind of drive a sense of urgency, because there is a window. It's not like a product on Amazon that you can just go buy, whenever, because it's always in stock or something. Like, there's a very set window, and that timeline is very public. So it does kind of create a little bit of urgency. So as far as funding is concerned, Kickstarter, they make you set a goal. So you go to your audience or your people, or you just put it on Kickstarter and you ask for a certain amount of money. So for instance, we have to raise a minimum amount of money to be able to, print journals and then ship them and basically cover our costs. So a lot of the times, there's some strategy here and there about setting your goal. But again, Kickstarter is all about transparency. So you're not trying to bait and switch anyone. You're really trying to give someone a transparent idea of how much money you realistically need to take this from an idea to like a physical product or a digital product, whatever it may be, delivered to the people that want it. Now, the cool thing about Kickstarter is, of course, you can go way over that funding goal. And what's considered a successful Kickstarter, they typically do go over that funding goal. So you kind of have to say like, hey, here's what we absolutely have to make if this is going to be a real thing. And then beyond that, everything beyond that, we're just keeping up with demand, or, it's just kind of excess for us to continue to do more projects, whatever it may be. But you have to meet that funding goal. And the scariest thing about Kickstarter, if you don't meet that funding goal, you don't get any money. You don't get any money at all. No one gets any products. Everyone's refunded. So if you only raise 99% of your funding goal, you actually don't get any money from Kickstarter. So it is a little bit scary. And the last time I checked, I believe 60% of campaigns on Kickstarter do not get funded. So it's actually in the minority of campaigns that happen on Kickstarter that actually get funded. So it's a little scary in that sense, but it's also, it's a good pressure, because it kind of, as a creator, it gives you confidence that people want your thing. And as a backer, someone who is giving money to these ideas, it protects you a little bit. If this idea isn't good enough, you get your money back and things like that. So I think everybody wins, but it's a little scary. Yeah, so Kickstarter, they do approve your campaign. You have to basically submit, it's almost like a school project in a weird way. You put a lot of work into it. Typically you want to make a video, you want to have really good, crisp pictures, like if you're, doing a physical product or something. You want to have really good descriptions of what you are trying to, raise money for, all that stuff. And then you submit it all to Kickstarter. And then sometimes they'll send it back and you have to, revise it, or they'll usually give you a thumbs up. It takes a couple of days to process, and then you're ready to click go and launch it, whenever your date is. A lot of people do think that you can just finish a campaign and launch it, but that's not true. Kickstarter is pretty, they have standards that they have to keep up with. So they take it, in-house and check it out. And of course, Kickstarter, they have to make money. So the way that they actually make money is they take a percentage of your campaign if you are successfully funded. So if you don't, get the 100% plus funding, Kickstarter doesn't make any money. But of course, if you do, then they actually take 10%. I believe it's 10% of the campaign. It's something like 5 to 10%. And then there might be something else with the transaction fees as well that have to do with credit cards. So it definitely varies from project to project. But so if a campaign is huge, like say the Magic Puzzle Company, Kickstarter is going to make a lot of money on that because they take 10% of that campaign. And I think they did something like $3 million, which is pretty unheard of. But that's how Kickstarter kind of stays afloat. They take a cut for hosting the platform. So. What separates a good campaign from a bad campaign? Well, it's hard to say what a bad campaign is. I guess you could just basically assume that someone that doesn't get funded is probably, a bad campaign, or they probably failed, in one area or another. But to have a good Kickstarter campaign, the things I've narrowed it down to are 3 things, and there's probably more. So, definitely keep looking for more information if you want to launch a Kickstarter. But here are my best pieces of advice. Number 1, do as much work as you possibly can before your Kickstarter launches. I've heard it said before that you want to have your product or your idea basically 90% produced. If you can afford it, 90% produced, even just a prototype, before you hit launch. Because you want to basically be able to show people, hey, I have done so much work to already get this thing teed up for you. Now, all I need is your help. I just need a couple of dollars from you to make this thing really work. And I would love for you to kind of be on the ground floor of this thing. That's a lot more compelling than, hey, I have this idea, I haven't really done much work on it, but if you give me some money, I'll go figure out how to make it work. That doesn't really translate super well to someone who you want to back your project. So it's important to do as much work on the front end to drive as much interest, to build a big email list. That way, when you hit launch, you're confident that you're going to get funded. You have people that can't wait to back your thing, and it just goes a lot smoother. So that's advice number one. Advice number two, it's important to have transparent communication with these people. Remember, it's a group project. It's a good way to think about a Kickstarter, and you want to be as communicative as you can. So Kickstarter has a built-in feature where you can update your people as the campaign goes on. So for instance, let's say you launch on the first day and you get 50% funded. Like if you get 50% of your asking goal on the first day of your campaign, so you still have 29 days left if you're doing 30 days, then you can write an update and you can say, hey everyone, thank you so much. We got 50% funded today. I can't believe you guys are so generous, whatever. That way, it makes people feel good. It gives some transparency about the project, and people are proud to, put some money behind what you're trying to do. So always be super transparent with your communication, especially when things aren't going well. People on Kickstarter are way more forgiving than, I guess, people out on the open market, if you will, because Kickstarter is a project and people understand that, deadlines get pushed back or things happen, or there's like a global pandemic, for instance. People are really gracious on Kickstarter, a lot more gracious than other people on, say, like an Amazon or even just like a typical e-commerce store. So I don't want to say take advantage of that, but just keep that in mind. Don't try and, conceal or hide any of the negative details about your campaign. Really just own it. Remember that it's kind of a group project, and people want to be included in the good and the bad. The last piece of advice I would give you is make sure you have a plan for fulfillment. Kickstarters typically have this reputation that they have a really exciting launch, they can raise a lot of money, and then they fall apart on their operations. They absolutely fall apart on the back end. I think it's because a lot of people that are trying to do projects they work so hard, and they finally get to that finish line, when they hit that launch button on the day that their campaign goes live. And the truth is, that's not a finish line. It's actually a starting line, because you have a lot more, race to run, because you have to fulfill all these promises, right? When someone gives you money, they trust you to provide, a product or whatever it may be for them. And you have to fulfill that in a timely manner, in a transparent manner, and in a correct manner. So make sure and have a plan for that. And, because I guarantee you, there will be some unforeseen circumstance, no matter what happens in your Kickstarter. So to recap, do as much work as you can on the front end. Try and get 90% of the way there before you hit launch. Have clear and transparent communication with your backers. And number three, have a fulfillment plan. Whatever your project is, make sure you know how you're going to get it into the world, and try and do it as quickly and as timely as you can. So yes, we are doing a Kickstarter campaign on February 16th, 2021. Mark your calendars. We're going to be launching the Astoria Magic Academy Kickstarter campaign. And we hope that if you're watching this video, you will be there on the 16th to help us back, or some point in the campaign. We cannot wait. We have been putting so much work into this journal for the last 6 months, and we haven't talked about it one time until about 3 weeks ago, or actually about 2 weeks ago. So it's very fresh. People are really excited about it. We can't wait to release more video content and get people hyped up about the release, because it's going to be amazing. It's the best thing we've ever made, and we can't wait to get it into people's hands. So in the meantime, before the 16th, if you're watching this, we have a thing called Magic Month that's going on right now. Magic Month is 30 days of side quests, is what we call them, to kind of, reinvigorate that sense of magic in the world, right? So we kind of have challenges that help you get, some daily things done, some typical chores, right? Mystifying the mundane, if you will. So yesterday we had a challenge to clean a room in your house. take a before and after picture, post it in the Heroes Quarters. That's our private Facebook group. We have about 10,000 heroes in there that are interacting every day. So it's a really strong way to build a community and for everyone to get close and get excited about the Astoria Magic Academy journal. And at an absolute minimum, if you don't care about Kickstarter or you don't even really want a regular Heroes journal, at an absolute minimum, it's a fun way to remind yourself of what you're grateful for every day, to get some side quests out of the way, and to maybe make some friends in the Heroes Quarters. So obviously we hope that you back our Kickstarter and you like our journals, but if you don't, we're still glad you're here. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We cannot wait to press the launch button on our Kickstarter. We launched a Kickstarter 2 years ago, and it was one of the most exciting, thrilling, and even at times kind of scary situations we've ever been in as a business. But if it wasn't for that risk, if it wasn't for those backers early on, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you so much. If you are looking forward to our campaign, we cannot wait. In the meantime, make sure and download Magic Month. There should be a link in the description. Like us on Facebook, join the Heroes Quarters on Facebook. It's our private Facebook group. Subscribe to us on YouTube, turn on notifications. We're coming up on 2,000 subscribers, which is crazy because we started this channel, I think in August. So it's been a short time, but it's been a really growing and exciting community. And we can't wait to make more exciting videos and journals and everything for you. So stay tuned. We're doing some cool things. We love you guys. Happy questing.